cheetahs into a single session. So every day they get sessions literally all day long. We do as many of those sessions as we can out here on the habitat, just to give all of you a little bit of a glimpse into what goes on into the care and training of the cheetahs here at Busch Gardens. We don't do shows, of course we don't have a stadium with bleachers, but we do train the cheetahs the same way we train all of our animals. So whether it's a cheetah or an elephant or a gorilla here at Busch Gardens, or you're even at one of our sister parks, killer whales at SeaWorld or dolphin at Discovery Cove, we use all the same training program and philosophy. So we use something called operant conditioning, and we pair that with positive reinforcement. So basically, anytime the animals do something correctly or something that we like, we a whale or a dolphin, but food is a great reinforcer across the board. We all like food as people. Animals are no different to that rule. That is what we call a primary reinforcer. That is something the animals have to survive. So with that said, while they all like food, they do all have to get their food every day, and we don't withhold food from them or make them hungry, but it is just one type of reinforcer that we might use. Because they do get all of their food every day, we come up with other things that they like, but they don't necessarily have to have. It could be a favorite toy, ice cubes on a hot summer day, rub down some trainers, move you to their favorite location. A lot of times doing another behavior or continuing on with the training session can be reinforcing in and of itself. And tell you, I've worked with a lot of different animals the entire show. No food at all. They do it because learning is fun. Animals are designed to learn. So probably one of the most important components of great animal welfare is a training program. We need to mentally stimulate animals. They are not designed just to sit in a big space and have food delivered to them. They need to learn. They need to be using their brain. And our training program not only enriches them mentally, but it also allows us to take better care of them. So as I mentioned, we don't do shows. Most of our training for the cheetahs is geared towards medical or husbandry. So those are things that they can learn that allow them to participate in their own health care. Sorry, I was trying to see what's going on back there. And so some are very basic. Some behaviors are a lot more complex. Believe it or not, all of our cheetahs will do blood draws. So they'll actually present their tails and allow us to hold their tail while we stick a needle in their veins and draw blood. We've done ultrasounds, x-rays, back in 2011. And we have lots of safety behaviors that the cheetahs learn to make sure that not only is it safe for us to work with them, it's safe for them, and it's safe for all of you as well. So one of the behaviors that we work on with the cheetahs is called a recall. And our recall is the bell. So the idea is very basic, but pretty good to know if you're a cheetah, is that when they hear us ring a bell, they come to wherever that bell sound is. Very quickly, they leave whatever they're doing, whether they have a bone in their mouth, or they're playing with their friends, or they're sleeping, or there's a trainer out there with them. No matter what it is, they should stop what they're doing and go to the sound of that bell. That is kind of our insurance policy. So if something bad ever happened in the habitat, maybe a child falls in or a trainer gets hurt, we can actually call the cheetahs away and we can know that they're going to come very quickly. That is just one of the recalls that we have here with the cheetahs. The other one is actually their names. So we can actually just call their name. Tiree is pretty good at coming to her name call. She's pretty bad at coming to the bell. So what we're actually going to do on this session is we're going to work with her to respond to the bell. This recall behavior with the bell, and this is going to be one of her first sessions of this. So this is probably going to be the first time that she's going to hear the bell without her name call right afterwards. But we're going to have some trainers down on the far right-hand side of the exhibit behind the scenes with the bell, and then we're going to have a trainer on the far left-hand side of the exhibit behind the scenes with the bell. And so anything's possible. Correct behavior, we're of course going to give a reinforcement for that. I don't know what the trainers have in store for her today, but probably some food, maybe some fluids, maybe moving away. We can reinforce her in lots of different ways. As you can see, she is kind of waiting for this session. This is again something that is really important in the cheetahs' overall management here at the park. And so we're going to see what happens. I will probably stop talking when they ring that bell, just to make sure that Tiree is listening to the bell. Once she gets really good at it, though, it shouldn't matter if somebody's on the microphone or there's music playing or lots of things going on. But because this is her first time kind of fixing this behavior, we're going to go ahead and set her up for success. and I will be quiet when they do go to ring that bell. So, again, she's about 6.5 years old right now. She weighs just under 100 pounds, which is average for an adult female cheetah. Adult male cheetahs will weigh about 120 to 130 pounds. There are 7 cheetahs that live here at the park, Tiree being one of the 7. So lots of communication here for us to work with the cheetahs. The other thing that I should mention is that we are able to work with our cheetahs in a free contact environment. And what that means is we can actually share the same space as them, or they can share the same space as us. And that's something that we do not do with any of our other large carnivores like our lions or our tigers. Even our elephants or our great apes, they're not carnivores, but we don't share the same space with them just for safety reasons. So our cheetahs are really unique in that sense. We do work with them with a barrier between us and them. But in addition, we are able to work with them in free contact. So if you're ever here on another day, you might see us out there with the cheetahs. So right now, pretty much what's happening is the trainers back behind the scenes are getting ready to start the training session. And cheetahs are extremely visual animals, and it makes sense. They hunt, and they hunt by sight, so they can see great distances. They kind of see first and hear second. And with this behavior, we're actually asking them to kind of not use their instincts. We're trying to teach them to listen first and see second. So it's kind of backwards for what cheetahs normally do. So what she's doing right now is she's following the trainer. She's looking to see where they are. So we'll try to set it up where no matter where she is, we can actually ring the bell at the opposite side of the habitat. So sounds like the trainers are ready. See what happens. The other thing I probably should mention is we often have multiple cheetahs out here on the exhibit, so not just one. Occasionally we have just one of them. But the other thing that the cheetahs have learned over time is that they don't need to listen for the bell. Oh, there's the bell. So she's moving towards it. Now she's running. It's kind of what we want to see. Good job, Tiree. We'd like to see it even faster, but that's a great first response. Hang right at the light, Tiree. Oh, no, she's going into that building. So she's going to get some reinforcement in there. We'll see if they ring her back down to the other side as well. But they, again, are typically out here with multiple cheetahs, not just by themselves. And what they've actually learned is there's a couple cheetahs that are really good at responding to the bell. So Chee is one of those cheetahs. She can be fast asleep on the complete opposite side of the habitat. If she hears the bell, she is up and running. And so the other cheetahs have actually learned to not listen for the bell, just wait for Chee to respond. So they cue more off of the other cheetahs than they do the actual bell, which is what we don't want. We want them to listen for the bell. So to retrain this, we're actually kind of increasing their criteria by teaching them this by themselves. So we're going to do this with all the cheetahs over the next couple of weeks. So each of them is really good by themselves. And then hopefully when they're back in their group, they're not going to rely on the other one. So she's moving that way. That bell, though, I don't know if you guys heard it. It sounded completely different than the bell on this side. So that's one thing that we probably want to make sure is that it sounds the same, at least to start. So it's the same sound that she's listening to. So she's figuring it out. So you saw she looked back towards the other side. She's kind of like, am I supposed to go to that side or back to where I just got lots of reinforcement? She is going. So it's a start. Of course, a cheetah by itself, when they just hear a bell, they have no idea what a bell means at all. So when we first start this, we have to help them out a lot. Point them in that direction. So she's not completely at the beginning stages of this learning, but she is taking a lot of steps back. So I think we're going to end her down there, going to get her back behind the scenes, and then in just a few minutes, we're going to bring another cheetah out named Chee. She is the one that I mentioned is out of all of them, bold for sure. She's not as, she's just bold, yeah. She'll go at things rather than be afraid of things. She's usually a little bit quicker. She uses strength more than her brain. So we'll see what happens with this training session with her as well. But she's one of our favorites here because she is pretty quick to learn most behaviors. The other cats take a little bit longer. usually pretty quick at learning anything that we're teaching her. And she's usually pretty excited about her training sessions too. She likes to learn, that's for sure. And this, again, you're seeing these first steps. This training initially was started about 5 years ago when we opened this area. And so this is the first time that we're really trying to go back to the basics. So this is by no means a completed behavior. While we're waiting though for Chee to come out, I should mention that cheetahs are a species that needs a lot of help. There's only about 7,000 cheetahs left on the planet. We'll see more of you in the park today than there are cheetahs left in the entire world, just to give you an idea. That is why we opened this area, again, back in 2011. Having them here, we're able to help them out in a lot of different ways. Of course, they live here 365 days a year, so we can get to know them, we get to learn more about them. They are trained for lots of different behaviors. I mentioned those blood draws that they're trained for, injections, ultrasounds, x-rays. So with that, we can learn a lot more about cheetahs. Of course, cheetahs in Africa are not walking up to researchers, giving them their tails to draw blood. Our cheetahs are trained to do that, so we can actually, for example, take a blood sample every day if we wanted to. So there's a lot of opportunity here that we wouldn't have in Africa to learn more about them. And believe it or not, we don't know everything that there is to know about cheetahs, especially in the way of reproduction. So by spending all day, every day with them and having access to them, we are able to learn more about them. Also, they're great ambassadors for their species. Of course, cheetahs do live in Africa, so most people will never see a cheetah in person. You might only ever see them in books or on TV, which is cool. But seeing them in person, you really can't replicate in a book or on TV. So unless you come to a place like Busch Gardens, most of us will never see a cheetah in person. So they are, if you're ever here another day though, and you definitely want to see a run, I always suggest coming here at the first scheduled time on your park maps. Ask us what our plan for that day is, and we'll be more than happy to let you know. We also have a sign in front of the habitat that lists what we're doing for that specific day. So there's Chee. She's on your far right-hand side. There's the bell. She's running towards the bell. Exactly what we want to see. A lot different than what you guys just saw with Tiree, which is why I think the other cheetahs kind of wait for Chee. She's kind of the one that everybody else cheats on with. So we're making sure that her behavior is very strong too. So that was a great response. I would assume that the trainers are going to ask her to do that again just to the other side of the exhibit. And then probably be done to bring some other cheetahs out here with Chee. So let's see what happens. But by the way, in the end, we'll be able to ring this bell anywhere, so it doesn't matter. We're just using these two areas right now for the first step. But we should be able to access the bell. You guys can hear me in the back. She's kind of over by the 40 windows. Alright, there's another bell. For the safety of all our guests, please place them in the locker or leave them with a non-way. For your safety, it must be a minimum. Thank you, and enjoy your ride on Cheetah. So she's making her way down there, you guys, but she might just be making her way down there anyway. Now she's running. So the first time she listened for the bell and responded to that. This time, I'm sure she heard it, but she didn't really start running until she saw the trainers down there. So the first response was actually much better than the second.